Hey guys, and welcome back to another brand new episode of DIY and Construction Fails. Now in today's 1 hour episode, we bring to you guys some of the worst homeowner fails to even DIY gone wrong. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at these clips together. So this first clip we have here, this guy had ordered cabinets to be made. Now a contractor came out and gave him a layout for his cabinets, but the guy was just completely hacked up. He had no idea what he was doing with the measurements. So when they went and installed all these cabinets, it wasn't completely to what the layout was supposed to be. And now we have countertop completely where it's not supposed to be, and a stove that sticks out so much that even pulling out a cabinet drawer impedes. So take a look at this and let me know what you guys think.
They couldn't get the counter right, and now we have some good times all around here. Now that this is going to be shifted over as it should be, the top cabinet needs to be moved over so that the OTR can be set in there.
Now this next clip was a landlord home that was getting its roof redone. So the landlord had actually went and hired somebody to throw some new roof, but instead of getting the whole entire thing stripped down, they went right over it. Look at these guys just pulling that thing off. It's just absolutely disgusting.
Hey guys, I want to charge my iPhone. So what the fuck, the LAN cable? Oh my god. LAN, what the fuck? 자전거 좀 뭐, 진짜 왜요? So
this next clip was submitted to us by a plumber. Now, he ended up going inside of this tenant's house, and the tenant had complained that the landlord had never fixed the water heater issue they've been dealing with for the past 5 years. Look at all that rust and corrosion. So this next guy films what would be a failed renovation. They ended up putting door trim, baseboard, flooring, and even tile. Now, the renovation was a complete fail because everything looks hacked up. Now, if you were to hire a contractor, this would be the last person you would hire. But what do you guys think? Would you guys end up going with this guy? So this next guy had done wiring a day before. Now what ended up happening here is a homeless dude stole all the copper wire that night, and they ended up leaving the thing empty-handed. Whoever stole that thing is completely rich now. So this next guy filmed the moment where the flooring guys had done plywood and flooring. Now this is a mobile home. Keep in mind they ran plywood and the flooring right on top of it. They ended up not cutting the vent out, but this isn't a problem. You could always cut it back, but this guy just takes a picture of this failed work from the flooring contractor. So in this first clip, we have handyman Jose, who had completely messed up this homeowner's hardwood floor. Now, this is completely devastating. Jose didn't even decide to put any plastic or mask this off. He even spilled his own paint on there as well. But look at this. This is just terrible. Absolute overspray from the floor to even the stairs. Now, if this happened to your house, how would you guys react? So this next girl ended up getting ripped off by a cheap handyman. Now this handyman ended up doing a bathroom renovation, from setting floor tile to even setting the shower pan. Just when you thought everything was complete, the baseboards weren't even on, and neither were the door trims. Now grout was missing from this project, and this is just completely terrible. Now this guy had just been doing the most randomest stuff in this bathroom, and who knows what that stain on the wall and the vanity is. But if somebody was inside your home and decided to completely rip you off like this, what would be your get back?
What are we looking at?
Like, that's fucking burnt.
That is black on the wall. Look at the speaker.
What in
The speaker is burnt.
Wow. Tell me you brazed that shit in place.
Now this next guy is destroying his tile work that he ended up doing for a homeowner. Now this homeowner didn't pay him whatsoever, but this guy's in such joyous mood even after getting scammed by the customer. But his work is almost so good, this is almost not even a foul, it is almost a win. Wins we don't post on this channel, and unfortunately this is the first one. Look at the tile, absolutely done right.
You want me to stay? You want to stand in it? You ready for my video?
This next clip was submitted to us by a viewer. Now the viewer said that this is why they don't let their wife work on their home. This lady ended up setting black grout on white tile. Absolutely devious. So this next lady filmed the moment that her home had a pipe burst, but this was the very least of their problems because her husband ended up falling from the ceiling from the second floor. He ended up falling on the tile, but luckily he was okay. So this next lady filmed the moment that she regretted the bathroom remodel in her home. Now, the biggest issue that she ended up complaining about is that there's water all over the place. Wherever you're at in the bathroom, there's always a water puddle. But this seems to me that there's much more to this, as somebody didn't slope it right.
Not worth it. Wet rooms literally look amazing, but oh my god, this is so humbling. Every single time you want to have a shower, I would not do it.
So this first guy we have here on the list, he actually ends up doing some excavation outside of this house. Now he ends up hitting a pipe and everything just keeps coming out. Now what would you do in a situation and how much would this cost?
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4.
So this next clip, we had a viewer actually submit to us. Now this is their apartment flooding from a sprinkler. Now before all of this actually happened, they had held up a can of Lysol right next to a cigarette lighter and sprayed the Lysol. Now as you'd imagine, this is a very flammable object and it happened to have been in the sprinkler's location. So this is why this thing flooded. Pretty crazy if you ask me.
The things you find sometimes. And this is why you have to get licensed contractors. This is an extractor leading to a can of jalapenos.
I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't really have a clue at all.
So this next clip a viewer submitted to us. Now this guy's trying to demo some drywall. Now it's a half-inch sheet of drywall right above his ceiling and he's just trying to take it down. The next guy right next to him is trying to pick at it with the hammer, but check out how this whole entire thing collapses. So a viewer submitted this clip to us. Now they were doing a solo hardscape job for themselves. Now you can imagine, where's the help at? Well, he had no employees and neither did he have a forklift to take this down. So using the braking power at the front, he leashes the beast forward and pretty much you could see how this wouldn't end so well. So this concrete contractor got completely burnt out by a homeowner. Now, this video is just so crazy because they're destroying their work right on video. Now, you would think a mechanic's lien is a suitable thing for a situation like this, but the homeowner did not pay him a single cent because they thought the driveway would be a lot bigger. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. She's now holding the check, and these guys rather take the loss than work here ever again.
When you finally get done off the stilts, you gotta do that stilt handstand, baby.
Now this is a type of shower you would use a first and very last time. Look at this thing, man, a grab bar at the top and look how deep that is and look what it's held on with. So here we have this guy doing a shower floor demo. Now, this isn't an ordinary shower demo. Look how quick that thing pops off. The thing had no thin set on it. Now, when you want to burn in the tiles, that's when it adheres better. But unfortunately, they didn't do that, and it's not this contractor, but whoever touched it last that completely made that mistake. Now, that's the very least of the problem to start off here, because when they laid the backer board onto the floor, they did not thin set that thing either. You could see how quickly he pulls that thing off, and he ended up doing the guy a favor.
Now this first guy had no idea what he was thinking, because what did he really think was going to happen when he cut the tree that was much heavier than him? Now, just when the homeowner thought he was getting a nice walkway on the side of his house, the homeowner's son just starts jumping all over the pour slab, and it was looser than a turkey on Thanksgiving. Now, this next clip, this concrete construction company tried to form a very huge pillar. Just the only problem is that when they tried to form the darn thing, it wasn't doing anything. And it turns out that the boss who only shows up to get paid ordered the wrong concrete mix. So the mix was just too slimy to even do anything with. Now here, we have this next homeowner who had looked at his roof one day and was like, damn, this needs a huge cleaning. So he got up and pressure washed all the shingles, but he wasn't supposed to be face up towards the shingles. Now let's just hope that he didn't create any severe damage, because that goes straight into the house. This is what happens when a minor excavation turns into a costly home renovation they're going to regret having in the first place. Now here we have moments trees were incorrectly cut down. Because the process consists of using heavy-duty chainsaws and precise techniques like specialty cuts, often supplemented by rigging ropes or wedges when the trunk exceeds the length of the saw. But neither of the guys who cut one down in these clips were either proficient in tree cutting, and you can see how costly that is. Now this guy, I feel really bad for, because he had spent all the money he had worked hard for to purchase a brand new AC condenser. But where he is from, people are rather ghetto or shady, and they absolutely tarnished his brand new unit. From the evaporator coil, to even the capacitor, to even the brazed soft copper lines. Whoever stole this dude's whole AC unit is a straight menace who deserves to be behind bars.
When they cut the damn wires and snipped everything, look at it. They just snip. Snip, 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 snip. Y'all see that? Look at this, y'all. Y'all see that? They snipped everything.
These next guys tried to fix a clog inside of their house, so they pulled the clean out plug, hoping that the clog was close enough to come out from there. Now this next clip is a crazy water damage nightmare, because when the handyman changed the angle stops in the house's bathroom, the darn handyman had used a shark bite push to connect instead of the old school tighten to crimp. And given that the shark bite gauge was never present, it never made it all the way inside of the pipe. Absolute nightmare.
This is what happens when you don't have a brain.
Handyman had attempted the repipe of this house just for his no-flux soldered pipe to come loose and set the incoming coal line into the water heater to leak everywhere. Some say that his first day was his last day. The company's profit margin absolutely disintegrated when he came aboard. So here, we have this crazy water damage nightmare, along with a backstory. because the tenant of this low-income apartment had suffered a sink leak in the bathroom. Nothing crazy, you might say, but when the owner of these apartments found out that the water had to be shut off is when things take a crazy turn. The shut-off would cost a $150 fee every 30 minutes, which isn't so bad after all. But instead, handyman Wilma decided to please the landlord and save her $150, which ultimately ended in 90 pounds of water being dispersed, creating thousands of dollars in problems. And to make things worse, his 5-gallon bucket wasn't of the help he would have wanted it to be. Homeowner had hired a group of painters after their flooring was done, and all the mist from the paint absolutely ruined their new tongue and groove flooring.
It's good stuff.
Now this next guy is tearing up the old tile a handyman was doing. Let's just say his adhesion wasn't so good the way they pop off. That's because they needed to burn in both sides of it with the thin set, giving it a good adhere. Here we have this next contractor who had come into this client's house for some electrical work, only to find that they cut the floor joist way too much. At this point, the structural integrity is more than compromised.
Fuck off. That should do it.
Now, this is a pretty common thing when you're doing home improvement, but if you're not licensed, people will take advantage of you, and this was the case for these guys. They installed drywall all over the place in this commercial space, I believe, and they ended up having to tear everything off because they weren't licensed. This is why plumbing pays extremely well, because look at this handyman that completely hacked up this drain into the sewer line conversion. Check this out, man. A flexible line, unbelievable stuff. Now this next clip was submitted to us by a viewer who had said that this guy ended up speaking very cocky about how these guys ran these crimp PEX lines for hot and cold. Now, to me, I see a bunch of joints here, but what do you guys say? Especially to the plumbers out there, was there a much easier way to run these lines?
This shit sucks, dude. It's terrible.
If you still don't believe I can do better, what is that, man?
Our moisture mapping blue tape came off. I wonder why. Went back to school?
So this next clip, we have a backstory. Now this lady ended up getting a bathroom tile done by a handyman. Now the handyman ended up doing the tile and the pattern just doesn't completely follow. But that wasn't the only problem with the bathroom, because he only finished 3/4 of the way of the work and he completely scammed the lady. He didn't finish anything. He had a profile that he had a tile all the way up and he didn't do it. Now to the tile guys out there, is this one of the worst bathrooms you've ever seen? Like, personally, I think it's pretty bad. But tile guys, let me know what you guys think. This poor lady got scammed for about $12,000. These next guys that completely messed up. Now they ended up doing the steel stud framing and the drywall in this commercial building, but little did they know they ended up leaving the scissor lift inside of where they drywalled in. Now how are they going to get that thing out?
First and probably only time I'll ever get lucky with a remodel.
Maybe. Maybe. Oh gosh. Definitely. You're definitely gonna regret this.
So this next clip was submitted to us by a viewer. Now the viewer had claimed that this was the most dangerous balcony that they'd have ever seen. It's a 3rd-story balcony and it is held on by only posts. Now the viewer says that there should be bracing all over the place. But to my framers out there, what do you guys think? I personally think that this is an imminent collapse waiting to happen.
I told them, I'm like, yeah, I would demo this whole thing. They didn't like that. Fucking horrible.
So this next clip was submitted to us by a viewer. Now the viewer had complained that their AC vents were flooded to the absolute brim. Now to any of the AC contractors watching this video right now, what do you think is wrong here? Is the condensation line condensating too much? Or is it clogged? Or could it be something major? Let me know in the comments and we'll be looking forward to your comments. So this next clip is what we call here the landlord special final boss. Now this guy goes over with a roller and some paint up and down, completely hacked up paint job. But that's the very least of all of this, because he ends up painting the cabinets as well. Oak grain cabinets, spraying all over, oversprays just on the wall. Completely hacked up work. Now what would you do if a cheap guy ended up painting your cabinets like this? Personally, he's kicked out of my home and he's never coming back. And if it gets even further, even a restraining order if you have to. Get these guys out of proximity.
Not good.
So this next clip was sent to us by a subscriber. Now the subscriber claims that this is the worst bathroom they'd ever seen. Now taking a look at this myself, there is 2 different hot and colds clamped together with a regular hose clamp. Now keep in mind, those are hose clamps you would use on a car. And also 2 different shark bites. That thing is ready to pop off at any time. But that was just barely everything, because drywall was put on this instead of backer board and they tiled right on top of it. That is just a nightmare of a spore to be seen later. Now just when you thought it was over, this guy goes to a different shower valve and they had done the same setup. Now this one was done a little bit more cleaner with a nub at the bottom and a shower head, but man, what would you say to any plumbers out there? This is a complete mess. How would you repair this if you were up to do the job? So these next guys completely destroyed this homeowner's shower, trying to find a leak that wasn't even there. Now, as a homeowner, what would you do? Because they had now completely destroyed your shower. You have nothing to bathe in. So here we have a clip that was submitted to me that would be quite controversial. Now, electricians and plumbers are going to be fighting in the comments section, but this plumber goes through 2 wires that were supposed to be going to a junction box. He ends up doing a hole saw right through it because his drain line is right there. Now he's trying to connect to it, but just in the comments, let me know if this was the totally right thing to do.
Another reason why you should buy a pre-built house in 2026. Just look at the attention to detail on these sidings. You can just tell they take their time with it. Older houses are never going to be the same as new houses.
So this next clip was submitted to us by an electrician. Now the electrician had described that this is actually a scary moment for them because they couldn't turn off anything from the panel because the panel was actually across the room. Now the whole entire thing is arcing, somebody messed up some electrical, but the most scariest part was the building catching fire at any time. This was their concern.
Elevator we need to kill the 5th floor.
Now this next guy was concerned for his friend. Now he ended up getting work done by another contractor who had done this floor, but the floor wasn't staggered whatsoever, so the floor was completely lined up joint to joint. But this wasn't just everything that happened in the video. Go ahead and check it out.
Not staggering anything, he doesn't care. Let's look at some of these cuts in the corners here. I mean, look at some of these cuts around this closet. You know, he's not going to put, this is for a bifold.
Now, it never ceases to amaze me how hacked up some contractors are and how hacked up this floor was. Now, Quarter-Round couldn't even cover the thing either.
Now this next one, the guys were driving around the machinery and some others were doing some excavation when one of the guys ended up hitting a fire hydrant line. And now all the guys are freaking out screaming to call the plumber.
Jack, get the plumber!
Now, to anybody living in America, and especially in the East, if you ever wondered what a $1 million house would ever look like, then here's your chance to take a look at it. But the builder completely cheaped out from the shower doors to even crucial trades like plumbing. Now here we have a roof inspector that inspected a roof valley on top of this customer's roof, but they ended up using 20-minute caulking to cover the valley up. Now this next guy had given the machinery driver a joint to smoke up, and one thing led to another, and the guy ended up flipping over the heavy machine right next to a street.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So here, we have these next guys who had inspected a sidewalk after the city had fired the last contractor who had done them all. And as you can see, the whole entire thing was done completely wrong because they had sloped it so bad that the water would definitely sit in the middle of all of this. Now to any concrete contractor, what would you have done differently here? Now sometimes a two-man crew, even on the biggest jobs, requires a lot of brain training. And these guys have mastered it without breaking their backs out in the hot sun.
Para todos aquellos que dicen que cobramos todo caro por lo que hacemos. No, mi estimado, no cobramos caro por lo que hacemos. Si te cobran barato, es porque...
Here is another plumbing poltergeist when the plumber had been called over for a clog, but not even the snake was able to go down that day. Can someone explain what is even going on here?
God.
Oh, I don't like it.
So these next ladies, for whatever reason, had been cutting the ceiling drywall off with a multi-tool when one of them creates a pinhole leak on one of the water lines. Now this is an overreaction, because the lady literally thought the water heater was going to explode. Now I didn't know that they would keep water heaters inside of the attic.
Move! Run! Run! Move! Get down! What's that noise?
Looks like the handyman told the track workers that he also did framing. But his nails were almost so far apart, just like his skill set and craftsmanship.
Yo! Yo!
So here we have this landlord who was finally able to get rid of the squatting family inside of his rental property. So now he takes a full video of the renovation that's going on before he puts the house back up for rent, but this time for $1,000 more. Here we have these next group of guys who all got together to create an addition for their house. But this was before they realized the nightmare they were about to get into. Because all of the work they had put together, and neither any of them had realized that they would be tearing up the wrong side of the house. This just goes to show that you can't just be any do-it-yourselfer. Because the consequence at the end of the day is a hole inside of your wallet.
What do you do?
Here we have is these painters that had gone way too far. Because when they were contracted to repaint a couple of cabinets, they had oversprayed almost anything in proximity. Imagine you hire these guys and then come back to see this abomination. Now this next guy is removing a quick landlord fix, because instead of taping the drywall hot, it's supposed to be with either a fast set hot mud or an all-purpose mud. They had instead put the paper tape on the joints and paint right over it. Here we have this contractor who had torn apart a terribly done bathroom by a tile guy. Because the tile guy had installed the waterproof board, but then glued the waterproofing membrane to the board. Keep in mind, the waterproofing Schluter membrane is really expensive and the best in bathroom industry. But it was put in worst hands ever. This lady's husband is a self-proclaimed plumber, so he knows what he's doing, right? Here we have these next guys whom the homeowner had hired from a hardware store. If you guess Home Depot, then you are absolutely right. And now, instead of removing the pre-existing drywall right above them, they instead go over not using inch and quarter screw, but 2-inch screws, so it actually grabs the studs.
What are you doing? Mom! What are you doing?
Now this next guy cuts a gas line by accident. Now luckily this didn't end so much into an explosion because he had control of it. Now here we have Jose, who had used a sawzall to cut 1/2-inch drywall, but it backfired on him because the blade was long enough to cut the 1/2-inch PEX hotline running through the joists, and now he has to shut the water heater off so all the water doesn't come his way.
I can't fucking make this shit up. I fucking drew on the fucking floor where the fucking sink is gonna go. You see? Everybody sees, I fucking see, but my fucking jerk-off plumber puts the motherfucking drain line outside of where the fucking sink is gonna go.
So here we have this same guy, but from a different clip where his somehow qualified journeyman also did a terrible shower valve plumbing job. Because he presses so many expensive fittings just for the body spray fixture. But that wasn't even his very last problem, because even the framers he had hired had completely ruined the framing of the house. And just looking at it, you can tell who's to blame. But whose fault really is this? The general contractor or the workers?
So this next clip is of a lady who had a angle stop burst by the toilet. Now this thing is just shooting out water like there's no tomorrow, but that wasn't just the only thing, because all the water was going downstairs to the other units right below it. But this wasn't the only bad thing about it, because when the people that were going to do renovation or repair all of this water damage, they wanted to try the carpet instead of replacing it. Now, what would you guys do in a situation where somebody tells you that the carpet is still usable even after toilet water had been dispersed absolutely everywhere? I would be in absolute shambles. Let me know what you guys think. Here we have this next clip of this guy who completely messed up this homeowner's house. Now, the contractor had been hired by the homeowner, and this guy was pretty, upfront about what he was going to do to the house. He was going to be clean and whatnot, but he ended up backstabbing this homeowner and completely lied to him. Look at all that trash. Absolutely disgusting. If a contractor came in your home and left a mess like this, and especially on the vanity faucets, what would you do and how would you react?
All this shit, bro. Putting holes. You got holes around the fucking light.
Now, in the UK, this is all you get as for a home. Now, I need your opinion on this. It's a 3-story house, but this is all of the backyard you're able to get.
Oh yeah, mate, that looks straight to me, mate.
Now, here we have this next clip of these plumbers who ended up messing up a water heater install. So they ended up teeing off the cold and installing an expansion tank, but the expansion tank completely fell off of where the line was connecting, and now water is just shooting everywhere.
Oh my god, no. No! 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 No!
So this guy inspects another plumber's work. So the plumber's work involved a bunch of 90s, but he could have gone straight down and done 190 and saved himself the rest of the fittings. But just when you thought it was completely over, on the water heater pan, they even put on 90 on this thing. Like, where's the water supposed to go?
Isn't that cool? Clearly professionals.
I've never seen this happen. Go ahead. Yep, you're good. That's crazy.
Customers complaining about the shower head being too low. I said, don't you sit down and have a bath? That's what I normally do. Any suggestions on how to make it higher without ripping it out the wall?
Now this next clip we have here is a contractor who is completely pissed off, and not for the reason you think, but for the reason that he ended up sending these two high school kids he had hired the address for a house, but they had gone to the wrong address and the right address was a block away. But to sum it up, they were working on the wrong house, demoing a second-story deck, so they pretty much destroyed someone's deck while they weren't home, and this guy had just gone completely rogue. But these two high school kids did a pretty good job considering it wasn't the right home.
I will never financially recover from this one. I don't even know what the fuck to do. Holy fuck, I don't know. I don't even know who owns this place.
So this next clip we have here was an electrician who had filmed this guy, which happened to be a employee at this diner, who had tried to install recessed lighting. So in order to do so, he ended up cutting this 220 volt wire. What do you think would happen?
Oh. Kyle, what the fuck? It's a lot.
So this next guy ended up destroying his friend's kitchen, but not just any ordinary, but he ended up digging up dirt as high as the kitchen cabinets. But just when you thought it was very messy, the whole situation was a messy situation itself, because this guy's friend ended up buying this foreclosed home many weeks before, and the problem with this home is that a piece of cast iron pipe had broke right underneath the slab, so poop was pretty much coming from up above, and basically this guy ended up getting his handyman friend to come fix it. But in a very messy way, he ends up jackhammering and putting all this dirt up to the cabinets. You can really expect hiring the cheapest guy and getting the cheapest results, but he was able to get the main line connected, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So is this a win-win for this foreclosure? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. So here we have this guy that didn't get paid by a contractor.
This is what happens when you don't pay
and he
me.
ends up dumping
You get your load
everything right
returned,
on the
and
street where the house he had
it's
worked
horrible,
was at. Now, do you guys think this was completely
gotta do it.
warranted? What would you do
This is
in
a
a
nice, big, pretty
situation like
neighborhood.
this where the contractor doesn't pay you?
Someone tell me how this bullshit works. Look at some high-class plumbing right here.
Conozco tu secreto, tu sucio, sucio secretito. Conozco tu secreto, tu sucio secretito. Se los digo, Richie.
So this next clip was submitted to us by a viewer. Now the viewer wanted to bring awareness to who actually did this, but this plumber ended up getting 2 ProPress tools stolen from the back of his truck. Now this is extremely terrible because those things are just so expensive, but he also had 2 tool bags stolen from the back seat of his truck. Now check this out because he ends up finding who actually did it. So this next clip is absolutely crazy. So here we have this next lady that went on a business trip, and on her business trip she had enough days away from home to actually get her bathroom redone. So in this time frame, a contractor went in there, done the tile, done the tub, plumbing, everything you can imagine. What ends up happening is one of her cats is roaming around, and the contractor accidentally locks the cat right behind the drywall and ends up texturing it, doing everything, even painting it. So who do you think is at fault for this? Because the lady's absolutely mad now. She has no idea what to say, and the contractor unknowingly locked this cat right behind all this drywall.
Of my life. This poor kitty was locked in there for 3 days, stuck underneath the drywall.
So here we have this next house with a complete plumbing disaster. Now, there is so many illegal turns right here that wouldn't even pass an inspection, even if an inspector looked at it for like a millisecond. Look at that, a coupling that's not even supposed to be there. You also got a sand T going up, and then look at it, a T right there, absolutely illegal, as well as this 90, man. What is that? Stuff will get stuck in here, especially if you flush one wipey down the drain, dude. But any plumbers out there, take a look at this and let me know down in the comments what you think.
Señor Jesucristo, Manny. Manny, hoy sí nos despiden, papá. ¿Qué hiciste, Manny? Por eso ya va. Manny, ¿qué hiciste, bo?
You're lying. You're lying. Started taking off the fucking drywall, bro. Call Sergio. Call Sergio.
Now, this next one was just more than the work itself. Rather, it was more about how many families and generations this house has went through, and every time they had set a new piece of floor, now is the time to get rid of those. Well, it looks like someone is getting fired. Now, it's pretty common sense that you don't just go into a home and rough into a piece of wood that you see. Because these guys roughed in plumbing through a structural beam and really thought they did a good job. This guy's landlord neglected the roof of this house for many years. And now the day of devastation came leaking through the home. Now this next one isn't ideally the same situation, but the homeowner tried to do the toilet himself when he had pulled a little too hard on the supply line connected to the angle stop. And now the water is gushing out at more than 90 pounds on a second floor. These college students had booked an Airbnb when one of them got thrown and slammed into the wall. Now, instead of telling the Airbnb owner, they had instead hacked it up even more, but doing it themselves. It honestly looked a lot better when the hole was on the wall.
Okay, scrape. Wait, run, scrape all of this. Scrape all of this.
I just can't explain it when it all.
Oh my God. What'd they say, Kim? What'd they say?
I just can't explain it when it
I just can't explain.
The fastest way to know if something will work for you is to try it.
Here, we got the apprentice concrete guy, who though he was fit enough to be holding the concrete shuttle, looks like he's going to have to bulk a little more for that. Now, it takes a lot of balls to be fixing a crucial main leak without having to short up the sides. Now this right here is the realest plumber pipe fitter out there. But as far as safety, that's a whole different story for next time. Now this is the definition of a slumlord, neglecting safety when it's needed. That whole door said everything.
Yo! Yo!
He tried to defend it.
Señor Jesucristo, Manny. Manny! Hoy sí nos despiden, papá. ¿Qué hiciste, Manny? Por eso el Manny.
Now, if you ever think of going into a Home Depot to hire a contractor, then think again. Because these guys will absolutely destroy your home. And this was one of the costly mistakes one of these customers actually did. And now their kitchen home backsplash looks absolutely terrible. So this next one is one you definitely want to take a look at. This insurance guy had gotten on top of this roof after this house had experienced a catastrophic water damage in their attic, with spores all over the place. Now the roof was inspected by one of the insurance guys who had started messing with the shingle to make sure that it wasn't a covered loss. Absolutely slimy, but this guy ended up catching him.
Hey! Yes, sir. What's up? What's up, man? How you doing? Good.
Now there is absolutely no reason to be nailing down this cabinet. And now this guy kind of ruined it.
We fucked up.
Now just when you thought there wasn't any more tile disasters in today's video, this one would surprise you the most. Because the homeowner had hired an unlicensed contractor who had done all the tile work himself right up until he can take a portion of the payment. Now this is where the homeowner messes up, because she had asked why the tile had looked like that, and the contractor said that the grout had to be applied in order for it to look good. She unfortunately forked over all the money and got ghosted by this contractor, and now she's left with all the ungrouted tile and a mess of work on her shower wall.
Yo! Yo!
He tried to defend it.
Homeowner declined the expensive plumber's quote, but turns out that later she ended up accepting. Can you guess why? Handyman Jose messed up striking the water main that's supposed to be in the attic. Now the water never ends. Here, we have this next guy who had been doing a drain for a pool. Now, he really wasn't thinking it through and glued the pipe anyways, before trying to fit it first. Ultimately, it ended up not going through all the way. This is a drywall taper's worst nightmare, because the Home Depot drywallers thought their work was good, but those joints are so big. They did it, and their literal thought was the tapers could take care of it with mud.
So these guys are commercial plumbers, but to me it seemed very weird that at 4:30 p.m. they ended up doing service on this copper pipe. Now they had no valve ready, they had nothing, so they ended up doing this live with no plan ahead on what's gonna happen. But the next thing you're gonna see is a complete disaster.
Dale.
So this school ended up hiring these electrician contractors to install a digital display for their school's gymnasium. Now, they're pretty much lifting this thing up with the scissor lift at ease. I mean, it's pretty easy as it looked like, but it just takes a turn. Check this out. So here we have this next plumber who had taken one of his co-workers on call dispatch calls. Now, this was the worst decision he had ever made. Now, looking at that tub right there, you can already see where this is going, and this guy only had a snake with them. Now, just take a look at this because it just gets worse from here.
Hey, we got an apartment backed up with 4 units. No clean out. Somebody's toilet's got to get pulled. Well, I go to all 4 units. 2 didn't answer the door. I chose the nastiest one. It was this one. Dirty, dog done tore up the carpet. Fuck it.
So here we have this next clip. Now this clip was submitted to us by a subscriber. Shout out to you. Now basically this girl ends up doing what seems to be a valve replacement, but she doesn't have a valve. She's just turning the thing like there's no tomorrow, and whatever she expects, she's gonna expect. Completely just takes a turn here. Now, to my electricians and drywallers out there, now, would you do a wire run for a car charger from a main panel to the garage like this? This electrician ended up opening up a bunch of 6-inch holes all the way through towards the end to the garage. Would this be the best way to do something like this? They didn't have an attic, they didn't have no access up there. Would you do this? Let me know in the comments what you guys think.
I'm telling you, sometimes that shit releases the bubbles, like the air. Oh, shit.
Now here we have this next guy that did not expect the unexpected. He ends up trying to cut the stub out, and watch how it ends up treating him.
I'm at this restaurant and I go to wash my hands and you can't, like, how are you supposed to wash your hands like this?
So this next clip we have here is a landlord who had completely cheaped out, painting over mold spores. This is the very last thing you would want to do, and he goes as far as painting the stove instead of buying a new one. Very, very hack work. This is the very last thing you should do in any rental property, is rolling over a bunch of flies. Then let me know what you guys think, if this is worth the extra $1,000 a month.
This is why you don't do this. You watching?
So the customer had said that it'd be a very cheap fix, but turns out this whole tankless system is completely done. It's absolutely cooked, my boy. Every customer will want something cheap. Unfortunately, this fix itself requires a whole new unit. So here we have this next clip of this girl who ended up doing DIY on her rental home. Now, she ends up going over this tub enclosure right here with paint. Absolutely atrocious. Why would you do this? Buy a new one.
All right, Bobby, this is an old trap. I just want you to be careful, be gentle, okay? Can I go on it, Bobby? What did I just say? No, don't get mad now. Just be careful when you pull the wear out the wall, because that could be corroded in there.
Now this next clip was submitted to us by a fan who watches the channel. Now they go to the same college as these people who ended up posting this video, and he pretty much went on and said that 2 quick plunges from a man and this thing would have gone away, but these women keep complicating it. Now these aren't my words, but they are his, and let me know if you agree. It sounds kind of crazy to say, but kind of controversial. Look at this, they're just completely messing with the toilet and it keeps overfilling. What do you guys think?
It just keeps getting worse. Guys, this is a never-ending cycle. I thought that worked. It's a scam. You got scammed. You got scammed.
A ver, ¿qué mierda sacaron? ¿Ya pagaron esto?
So this backstory of this video is pretty much these guys ended up renting a snake to snake a drain from Home Depot, and one of the guys ends up getting his finger caught. Now usually plumbers use what they call snake gloves, and these look pretty weird. I'll show a picture on the screen, but he basically didn't have those and ended up getting the snake stuck on his finger. Luckily he was able to save his finger though. Homeowner ended up getting this job done by these concrete guys. Now these guys were in for a huge surprise because the next day they were destroying the whole entire thing. Now just what you'd expect, a homeowner who didn't have the money to do it in the first place completely burning out these contractors. These guys are completely devastated, and I'm pretty sure I would be, and anyone else would be too. This is a lot of work that it goes into just for it to go to waste.
The Handyman Special.
Now this next one is pretty crazy because the pools was in fully operating mode. But the backstory to this is that one of homeowner's kids had fell through this pool rock. Now it was supposed to be fully solid as the contractor had said, but the rebar was still in there and not poured yet. Now at the end of the day, the rock was structurally supported all the way, resulted in absolute mess.
It is exposed and rotting out. Look at that. And the columns that they built, the steel's on the outside rotting out. And there's a big chunk sitting on the bottom.
Now here we have this next guy who had tried to impress his girlfriend. So he decided to fix the leaky toilet in her bathroom. He even went as far as trying to measure the wax ring-like thing isn't universal already. But just when he put everything in, he ends up making a catastrophic mistake.
I'm just cleaning the area. That's what it looked like before. That's what it looked like after I finished cleaning it. Just put them back in, then put the toilet back on, and then we should be good to go. So I'm like, it's fine. But I didn't know. And yeah, you can hear that it cracked, but...
So what started the crack on the toilet was he had tightened the screws too much at the bottom.
Dad! What happened?
I fucking fell through the goddamn roof. Is that alright? Are you gonna help me or are you gonna video me?
Are you alright?
I think I am.
Here we have this next guy, aka the homeowner of the house, trying to do it himself. Now we got to give the guy some credit. Those forms and rebar are actually pretty good. And to any concrete guys out there, what is your thought on that as well? But anyways, the guy had ordered a truck to pour for him. Just the only problem is the truck pours at whatever pace the homeowner sets, and even the delivery guy's annoyed. Now this next one is absolutely crazy because one of the electricians had done a hole for a wire run on an iron beam. Now to any iron workers out there, does this actually compromise the whole structure? Now here we have an excavator that was going to take a piece off of the foundation. But it ends up going south when the excavator chips just a bit too much right off of the foundation. Living in that house could be a possible hazard. Looks like the roofing guys have a strategy for every time they do a roof demo, but something tells me that the plywood is not always going to be strong.
Living the dream, and you're...
The gun's died. The gun's died.
Anyways, thank you guys all for watching another 1 hour episode of DIY and construction fails. If you guys enjoyed today's video or have learned something, then don't forget to leave a like on the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out the rest of our videos.